This video is sponsored by top-level-domain-name.design.
In today's video, we're gonna redesign a car that you either hate or you love. It's a car that didn't look like anything else on the roads in the early 2000s when this came out. And I'm talking, of course, about the legendary Chrysler PT Cruiser, which from a kind of build quality standpoint isn't really up there, I would say, but from a design standpoint, it's a really cool design, and I actually really like the overall PT Cruiser. I think it's a really cool car because they actually decided to do something different here with the PT Cruiser. It was supposed to be a Plymouth, but then Plymouth went out of business, so Chrysler took over and they created this personal transportation cruiser. So what we're gonna do in this video is redesign this and make it into a modern version of the old PT Cruiser. But I also want to show you what's really cool about the concept here. If we look at the front end of this concept and just comparing it to the production version, this is really well done by Chrysler to take this concept into production at this rate. Yes, we do have a massive front bumper here, but you gotta keep in mind that you have regulations, rules to be able to put these cars out on the streets. I think they did a good job here, a fantastic job, specifically for the early 2000s, putting out the concept and managed to get it this close in the production version from the concept. I actually really prefer the grille of the production rather than this grill that we have right here, because there's no connection between the top part and the lower part of the grill right here, whereas in the production version you can see that this grill stretches all the way down here like a true hot rod design, and all the way down here just separated by this ugly black big bumper right in the front end. It kind of messes up the whole front, but this eventually turned into body color and it got less pronounced in the front end the older the generations and after a couple of facelifts. A couple of more things that changed here from the concept. I do like these fog lights down here, and they don't really exist here on the early Chrysler PT Cruisers. I do like also the integration right here of the bumper. You can see just how smooth this transition is right here compared to, of course, this massive bumper right here on the production version. Wheels pretty much look the same, and the overall stance here, as you can see, very close to production as well, and the side mirrors and stuff like that. It's a really cool approach to transitioning this and keep the original spirit and the design of the concept. I want to show you the rear and the side as well, so let's have a look at the side view right here. You can see the big changes in the side view is when we look at the silhouette of the concept, you don't have these bumpers sticking out right here, which you have a massive bumper on the production version. This is a later version of the PT Cruiser, so this is not the first generation. This has been facelifted right here. You can see the bumpers right here in the front end. It doesn't exist on the concept, but stuff like that you need to put in the production version. Totally fine. And the cut lines also become a little bit more pronounced here in the production version, comparing it to the concept where you have almost very sharp cut lines, and they're very narrow, a lot narrower than we have on the production version, as you can see. But overall, the proportions, and if we were to overlay this silhouette right here of the concept onto the production version, I'm pretty sure they would be pretty much identical, except for, of course, the added bumpers in each end, the front and the rear. Last but not least, let's have a look at the rear view and the transition here. What changed from the concept to the production? I really prefer this rear end. Just look at how clean this surfacing is right here. There's nothing going on, and that's kind of what I thought Chrysler wanted to visualize or encapsulate with the PT Cruiser, is this hot rod styling where less is more. Got a little bit more complicated in the production, as you can see, specifically the transition from this opening right here to the bumper. So we have a clear definition of the bumper, and the bumper itself, I feel, is a little over stylized with these lines right here, and then you have these lights and these cut lines. I think they could have cleaned the rear up a little bit right here, comparing it specifically to the very cool and clean concept that we have up here. I love this diffuser as well with the two tailpipes. Looks really cool. I wish they kind of had it on the production version as well. We might have a look at the rear view in a future video. I've made a redesign of the PT Cruiser a long time ago, but I think it's time for a refresh. I've improved in my design skills, and also it's just fun to revisit a classic like this and try to make it look into a 2022 model. Before we go any further, I would like to thank top-level domain name .design for sponsoring this video. Now, if you're a designer, maybe you're a freelancer, you're a student, you're looking at design jobs, or you want to get into design school, having a clear, straight to the point website and domain name is essential to stand out from the crowd, and that's where .design comes in. So to give you an example, if I were to create a website focusing on freelancing, design work, and so on only, I would maybe call it bemblydesign.com. But if I were actually doing that, building a website like that, what this would do is I can have the website name be bembly.design and totally remove the .com from the entire website name, and that means that it becomes a lot more clear and a lot more straight to the point, and people will know exactly what your area of expertise is without even visiting the website, but just looking at the website name. Major brands such as Spotify, Airbnb, Adobe, and Amazon are already using the .design domain. So get yours and get your name right now before someone else snatches it up. Simply click on my custom link in my description to learn more about the .design domain name and get your perfect .design domain name today. Thanks again to .design for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back and redesign the PT Cruiser. So this is the view that we're going to be working on here, and just look at this beautiful blue. This is one of the later models. As you can see, we don't have the big black bumper right here in the front end anymore. It's way more integrated and way more nicer looking in the front end right here, and of course body colors. We're gonna keep that. What I want to do is maybe we can play around and maybe turn it into some sort of an EV feel in this design. What I do like and love about this design are the proportions here, the hot rod proportions that we have like this, and I want to keep this. This is not something I want to change. What needs to be changed are of course the headlights, the taillights back here, the wheels needs to definitely change. We need to plant this a lot better than we have right here. That means lower this a little bit to the ground as well, so adding some parts, some like aero parts down here to lower the visual perception of the PT Cruiser. And you can see these door handles right here. I want to remove those and have it be maybe like a Mach-E button right here in the pillars that you just touch, that are touch sensitive. When we touch them, the door pops open. Maybe not the most practical, but it's gonna look a whole lot better. And this grill right here, I want to keep this grill, but I want to emphasize this even more, so maybe stretch it out this way, have some opening right here. We'll see what we can do with the opening, maybe some opening in the hood right there or something like that. Gonna have a lot of fun playing around with this. So with that said, let's continue in Photoshop. Let's see how this redesign is going to turn out. The PT Cruiser was a pretty special car. I think Chrysler at this point, they really had the courage to put something like this out, and that's what I admire about this design, because as I said, pretty much nothing looked like this out on the streets in the early 2000s, and the PT Cruiser was actually a hit, both here in the US and internationally as well. Since it was kind of a compact car, it could be sold over in Europe as well and in Canada, and I think they sold it in South America as well because of the design. And I think this is one of the earliest retro inspired design that we ever saw, specifically, and at that early, the year 2000. This came out of the 2001 model. I don't think a lot of companies were thinking to take cool concepts from the past, such as hot rod concepts, and kind of remold them and turn them into something that is modern, but at the same time had the same vibe and the soul of an older type vehicle. And I think PT Cruiser, they did it really well. There were some pioneers within that segment when it comes to retro inspired design. So what I want to do here is, as I said, I want to keep the original proportions of this design, because I think the proportions are what makes the personal transport cruiser special, and I don't want to touch them. What I want to update is, of course, the graphics, the headlights, the grills, the side mirrors, and the door handles, and lower it to the ground, because lowering the car will, just by doing that, will make it look more modern. Just by doing that little tweak, we gotta update the wheels. I do like Chrysler 300M, the 300S, or is it the S or the M? I'm confused. I can't remember, but the more modern version of the 300. I like those type of wheels, and I think they suit suit the PT Cruiser overall styling here. So I'm gonna pop those in, and I also want to add a little bit of some sharpness to the body lines of this car. That means I want to add a little sharp line on the front fender and a sharp line that goes dipping down from the shoulder line from the rear, then dipping into the front fender, and kind of gives it, if you look at it from a side view, it's going to give it this forward leaning or forward leaning motion just by sitting still looking at it as side view if we play around with a couple of lines in the body. Also add a little bit of some sharpness to the hood, so maybe have a distinct defining line at the side of the hood. We can also create some sort of opening there, because why not add some hot rod cooling that looks like it was maybe cut in a garage or something like that. Just some cool openings in the front end to define it more than the original PT Cruiser. And if we go even lower, I want to of course update the headlights. Those are going to be the face of the car. You might think that the headlight could fit in the black opening that I created, that extended on the top part of the grille, and looking at it, it looks like it could possibly work to put a light up there. But then again, I want to implement this new feature, new design trend, where the headlights sit a little lower, almost in the bumper of the car. So that will be both a modernization of the original headlights of the PT Cruiser, and on top of that, it's going to be in line with current design trends to have some sort of opening in the top, and then we have the main headlights a little lower, and below that, we're gonna work on the grille and the intake down there, and the fog lights, of course. Just keep it very, very simple. I don't want the graphics to scream more than the proportions of the PT Cruiser. I want the proportions to be the thing that really takes up the initial impression when you see a PT Cruiser, and not to have your eyes be focused on some little graphic details and just ruin the overall proportions of the PT Cruiser. And I think it turned out pretty cool here. I would love to see a new PT Cruiser, since the proportions are so unique. It would be cool if Chrysler decided to do something like this. They're on a roll now with the airflow concept, I think it was called, which looks pretty good, but it looks pretty generic as well. So maybe turning the PT Cruiser, I don't know, turn it into an EV if you want to. It suits kind of the EV segment as a daily driver, daily commute car. I think it would do well as an EV. Doesn't have to be super quick, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds or something like that. It just needs to have a normal competitive range for it to be successful with this design as an EV. Those are my thoughts on what would happen if Chrysler actually decided to bring this back. Thanks again to Top Level Design, name .design. Go and get your .design website and domain down in the description. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.